Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor, Ethico.
Handling multiple compliance cases can often feel like navigating a complex labyrinth. Ethico introduces simplicity and intelligence into this chaos with our custom workflow automation. By automatically routing cases based on your unique criteria, we turn the maze into a clear path forward. Envision a compliance process that's not just effective, but also intuitive and adaptable to your needs. It's time to redefine efficiency in your workplace. Embark on this journey of transformation at ethico.com/CPN. Book a demo and explore the white paper by Tom Fox, 2023, The Year in Compliance, to discover a world of seamless compliance management.
The Daily Compliance News for February 27, 2022, the He Lied edition. And we begin with that story from the New York Times. The informant who lied to the FBI about President Biden and his son Hunter accepting bribes will now be held without bail for his upcoming trial. Obviously a flight risk for reasons completely unknown. The magistrate cut him loose on a personal recognizance bond, and he was rearrested at his lawyer's offices of all places. So pretty severe escape risk, and the federal judge shut it down. I guess he didn't want the guy skipping or being killed under his watch. Next up, from Bloomberg, Boeing was hit by a damning report from the FAA faulting its culture of safety. The FAA found that there was a disconnect between senior management and staff. Workers feared retaliation if they flagged safety concerns. You might think that Boeing would have had a wake-up call around this, particularly after the 737 MAX disasters, but apparently it even got worse. So you have to wonder about the culture at Boeing. Lots of problems in their supply chain, but hopefully Boeing will be able to pull out of this. The world definitely needs Boeing as one of the 2 top airplane manufacturers, but really damning report. Next up, from Reuters, the judge in the Binance enforcement action has approved a $4.3 billion guilty plea from the company as the U.S., and that includes the monitorship, which is going to be very interesting going forward. Whether Binance cooperates or not, of course, is a completely separate story. They've made noises that they have no intention of completing out the requirements and putting in certainly a culture of compliance or a compliance program, let alone a culture of compliance. And our final story comes to us from the South China Morning Post, which says that the Belts and Roads program that China has touted across the world is now in the crosshairs of corruption watchdogs. This has been a theme, I think, throughout this program across the globe, that China is alleged to have engaged in bribery and corruption to get these projects. And then, of course, they're substandard and they're built, and countries are locked into these contracts, which cause them huge debt, and they have to then try to go to court to invalidate or get a resolution because of the bribery and corruption. So maybe this will be the start. As I mentioned in the opening of this new podcast series, Compliance Tip of the Day, we are sponsored this month by Ethico. Are you struggling to close cases? Well, Ethico is here for you. Take advantage of their innovative approach to empathic issue intake, streamlined case management, and enterprise-wide disclosures. Learn more about how you can crowdsource risk management at scale at ethico.com/CPN. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.